It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Alabama State's assistant women's soccer coach, Coach Kodie Johnson. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Trying to enjoy the rainy weather outside.
Thank you. Can you talk about, of course, how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college women's soccer?
Um, I didn't actually plan on coaching soccer. I didn't have a plan, period, coming out of high school or even out of college, what I wanted to do. But I had an extra semester after playing at Ottawa. And the coach was like, "Hey, we need a goalkeeper coach. Can you do student coaching?" So, yeah, I'm here. Might as well. And just kind of got thrown into that and instantly fell in love with coaching, and just haven't looked back.
What was your time like playing at Ottawa, Kansas as a soccer player?
Oh, it's phenomenal. Playing a college sport is every student athlete's dream in high school. So just simply being given the opportunity to fulfill that dream was everything. And then just the environment, the academics, the athletics, everything at Ottawa was amazing. It was a pretty small campus. When I was there, I think we had just under 1,000 students. And it's like 5% of the student body did not participate in athletics. So the whole college is student athletes. So you're surrounded by it 24/7. And that alone is an amazing feeling, knowing that everybody is there with the same goal in mind.
What was that feeling like getting to put on that jersey for Ottawa and getting to represent them?
Oh, same feeling. It's a great feeling. Anytime you get to put on a jersey and represent a team, it's the best feeling in the world.
What was that experience like for you to get to go to the Sweet 16 as a player?
That was like next level dream. My first season at Ottawa, our record was outstanding. I think we lost 2 games the whole season. So that first Sweet 16 experience was just kind of out of body. And then my second time at Sweet 16, a little more expectation on it. Because we were there the year before, didn't make it past Sweet 16. So the expectation now is to win that game, make it to the Elite Eight. Fell short, unfortunately, but still, that experience was something I'm going to cherish forever. Sometimes I still kind of get that feeling of, man, I'm still going to get another game in. But unfortunately not. But no, it was really good. And getting to be there with my best friends, with a great coaching staff, it was great.
Of course, after your time playing, what was that like getting to transition and getting into coaching and first becoming a grad assistant?
It was interesting, because I didn't really understand the role of a graduate assistant. Of course, I had graduate assistants at Ottawa, and they did great things. But their primary goal was to get their education. And so I didn't know what to expect with it. But the biggest thing for me was, I have to get my master's, because in order to be a head coach nowadays, you either have to have professional playing experience or you have to have that master's degree. And so that was a big thing for me once I figured out I wanted to get into coaching. Was, all right, I got to go get this master's degree. Doesn't really matter where I go to get it, I got to get it. And so I ended up at Agnes Scott College in Decatur, Georgia, right inside Atlanta. And that was very immersive. Agnes Scott's a great school. They're a Division III. I learned more than I ever thought I would. Not just about coaching, but just academic life, the D3 model. And I'm actually really happy that I got to coach D3 first before moving up in the ranks. Just because it taught me how to connect with people on a different level. Because, D3 is not completely athletic focused. It's a big academic thing. And so just having to navigate that piece of it, because, you're not having that athletic scholarship that you can kind of pull kids a little bit with. You have to actually talk about the school, and kids have to want to go D3. So that experience in itself was very enriching as a coach.
How does your time as a grad assistant help you into then making that first assistant coaching full-time job?
I mean, it was a step in the door. So just getting that initial coaching experience, that college coaching experience, just, help the stepping stones of it. Yeah, that's really the biggest piece of that position.
What was your time like being the goalkeeper coach for the last defense goalkeeping academy?
Um, it was good. I mean, I am a goalkeeper coach. And so that was I learned a lot under Ron. He gave me a curriculum. He said, hey, these are the things that we're wanting to teach these kids, but at the same time, be yourself, be the coach you are, and teach them. But I'm really happy I got to do that. I made some good connections out of it in the goalkeeping world. And then it progressed me as a goalkeeper coach, because I got to work with young youth kids or youth club players, as well as older club players. And then it also kind of got my foot in the door for some private coaching. And Ron, he's the owner of Last Defense Goalkeeping Academy. He's been in my corner since I worked for him. He's actually the reason I'm at Alabama State. He's a good friend of our head coach. And so when I was actually coming out of my graduate assistant position, my head coach was making calls, and Ron was very nice and said some great things about me. Thank goodness. But he's a really big reason of why I am where I am. And so it's helped me in many, many ways.
What was that feeling like getting to come to Alabama State to become the next assistant coach?
I was nervous. Because when I kind of made that decision of, okay, I want to be a college coach, Division I was nowhere in my mind. Because, when you think Division I, you think of these big, you think North Carolina, you think UCLA. And to me, I was like, I don't really want that pressure, because that's a lot. But I've loved every single second of this job and working for this program. It is kind of a unique feeling when someone's like, oh, you coach at Alabama State University? They're D1? It's like, yeah, I'm a D1 coach. I mean, selfishly, yeah, it's a cool feeling. But I mean, I love my time here. I love all the kids. The coaching staff is great. Our athletic department does a really good job of supporting everybody. So,
Of course, coming to Alabama State, what was that feeling like the first time you got to step onto that field, the soccer field for Alabama State?
it was really good. Our facilities are great. We have our soccer field. Man, it's a dream field. It's super nice. And then, coming from Ottawa, our facilities there were nice too. But coming into like a D1 campus and seeing this big football stadium, all these other facilities that are just super nice, like that's like, wow. It's almost like I made it feeling. But no, it was really cool. First time stepping out on the field with all the girls. But I mean, at the end of the day, coaching is coaching, and that's all I want to do is coach. So the fact that I get to pursue that piece of my life in coaching, that it's great.
What was that transition like from you from getting to coach on the Division II level and Division III level to then making that jump to coach Division I?
Well, I haven't coached Division II. I played, so my first 2 years of school, I was at Fort Lewis College, which is a Division II, and then transferred over to NAIA. My coaching career started with D3 and then jumped into the D1 coaching. I would say that the biggest transition was expectation level. And I mean, here we have a big demand on technical ability. So as a coach for myself, I had to really, do my own research and really grow into a coach and say, no, these are the technical abilities that we have to have. And I have to be able to teach it, coach it, show it. I mean, you don't have to show it, but it definitely helps. But yeah, I think the biggest transition was the expectation level, not just on the players, but from a coaching perspective and being a coach at this level.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a coach versus for your players at Alabama State?
Usually, so we start setup 3 or 4 hours before game time. The coaching staff, we get the whole field set up. We do a pregame meal, and I still get those pregame jitters like I did when I was a player. A game day feeling, I don't want to ever not feel that. It's such a great feeling. And then getting to share that excitement with the players, maybe some of them are like, all right, I'm just kind of having a day. And, I come into the locker room with excitement, ready to go. And it's like, oh, my coaches want to be here too. Heck yeah, I'm ready to go. So I don't think there's really a whole lot of difference in the game day feel outside of, I have to just do a whole lot more setup.
Of course, as a coach, do you have any game day routines and rituals that you do to prepare for game day?
On a personal level,
Mhm.
Oh, most definitely. I am a creature of habit and I love routine. For me, if we have a Friday night game, we'll play at 6 o'clock in the evening. I get up in the morning. If we have office hours, I'll go to the office, and then I got to go to the gym. Got to get all of my energy out, because if I don't, oh my gosh, I'm just like this crazy ball of energy. So I got to get rid of some of that. So we'll get a lift, get a run in, and then the day kind of starts from there as far as pregame. Myself and our other assistant will go to the field, start setting everything up. Then we usually take my car to go get our pregame meal. We'll go get pregame, go back to the field, sit down with the girls while they eat, go into the locker room, write out our scouting report, our starting lineup. Then the other assistant and I will go eat, kind of hang out for a few minutes, go back out to the field, finish whatever setup we need. And then an hour and a half before game time, myself and our other assistant, we go into the locker room to explain the scouting report. But before going in there, we change, and our other assistant and I, we like to wear polos. So we'll put our polos on, and I'm a weirdo and like my polo buttoned all the way up. So I put my polo on and I button it up, and I change my hat because I have a hat I wear for games. And then off we go.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you face each week?
So we have Alabama A&M, Jackson State, Texas Southern, Prairie View, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Alcorn, bunch of top tier teams, and all the teams are getting better every single year, and it's really cool to see the growth in all the teams.
Of course, what is that home game atmosphere like when teams like Mercer and Lipscomb come to home?
So I haven't gotten to experience those type of home games yet. I think we have both of them at home this year, but a home game atmosphere, period. Um, I mean, it's always great getting to play at home. Um, but I'll be completely honest with you. I am so locked in on what the game is and kind of our game plan for our team that everything else that's going on around us, it's just white noise. I'm just locked in. So yeah, I don't really pay attention to what the atmosphere is just because I'm there with the team, making sure that they're getting what they need in order to be prepared for the game.
What is that like, obviously getting to travel to some of those teams like Texas Southern, Gardner Webb, and Lipscomb to play them away?
Playing at Lipscomb was really cool. They have a really nice pitch. Um, Driving down to Texas is not fun. That is a very long bus drive. Uh, but you know, anytime we get to go on the field for a match, it's great. So, you know, all those teams are great. We got to my first season here, we went up to UAB to play, and I think that is the most exciting game I've been a part of. Um, and that is one game that the atmosphere kind of got into me a little bit. And a lot of it was because that facility is top tier. Um, you know, actually I have a picture of the field as the background on my phone. Um, just because it gives you that professional environment feel. Um, but like I said, getting anytime our team gets to put their kits on and play a 90-minute match, it's phenomenal.
What is that like, obviously getting to play those in-state teams like Alabama's A&M?
Oh, Alabama A&M is a tough team to play, but home or away. They're gritty and they work hard. Um, it is nice not having to travel too far when we have to go over there. Um, and it's fun to play conference games. Um, Kind of shows you where your squad is at comparatively. Um, yeah.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped to build for Alabama State's women's soccer program?
Um, I try to bring kind of a light feel to our culture. Something that I do with our team, excuse me, every day before training. When they're stretching, I go over there and I tell them a silly joke. Uh, Most of the time, they don't get the joke. So then I have to explain it. So then it's not funny anymore. But I try to bring a sense of, look, we're all out here together. I'm not here to be da 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 da. You know, I don't want to be that hard coach or that screaming coach. I want our players to feel like we're all in it together because we are. And so that's kind of the culture piece that I try to bring. We are a family. We're here. We're doing the thing together. And yes, your academics are the most important piece, and we want you to get good grades, graduate, go on and do amazing things. But in terms of soccer, we all have the same goal in mind. We want to win games, and we want a ring at the end of the season and a chance to play in the NCAA tournament.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play collegiate women's soccer?
You know, I think it's changed a little bit because of COVID. There's a lot more online recruitment. And as a player for myself, I didn't get to experience the recruiting process. I had a really great high school coach that reached out to coaches for me and kind of got me where I was at. And then when I transferred, my mom helped me a lot. Um, so I don't really know the recruiting process from a player's perspective. And then when I got into coaching, COVID kind of hit pretty fast. So I didn't get the full recruiting experience prior to. But now there's a lot of online recruitment, so videos, talking to recruiting services, trying to find those types of kids. I mean, we still go to tournaments. We go to Raleigh a lot, to Castle. And so the biggest thing is, identifying the prospective athletes that we think can make an immediate impact in our program. And then, just starting those conversations, figuring out what they want, seeing if Alabama State could be a good fit for them. And then if they're interested, getting them on campus to do a visit. And that visit is going to look like coming in the office, having a conversation with the whole coaching staff, answering any question that they might have, and then, touring the campus. Because of COVID, it's kind of hard to get into buildings sometimes still. So a lot of times we just have to give the outside perspective and, do the best we can in terms of that. But we'll have players join us on the tour sometimes, so they can answer questions that, the coaching staff can't always answer, because, it's a player perspective. Show them all the facilities, let them meet our athletic trainer, kind of give them the rundown of what it looks like in season, what our training schedule is like, kind of what the expectations are, and then out of season, what that training looks like. And, we usually wrap up a recruiting visit back in the office, again, answering any questions, and kind of going from there. Yeah.
As a coach, what are some of the things that you look at in those prospective student athletes when going out to these tournaments, like the one you said in Raleigh?
So the biggest thing is, making sure a player fits the model that we want. And every school is going to be different in the type of player that they want. So we look for, kids that are technically sound, as other schools do that too. I mean, I'm not saying that other schools are gonna just bring on any player, but there's certain criteria that we look for when we're looking at kids. And the other assistant and I, usually we go out together recruiting, and we could be watching the same player and have a completely different opinion on what that player can do. But that's the greatest thing about soccer is, it's very objective. And it's fun to see what different people think about different players. And you see that at the professional level too, like let's talk about Alex Morgan. Some people absolutely love her as a player, and then you have other people that are like, oh no, like not at all. But again, it's objective. And it's just, back to the recruiting piece and what we look for. It's just finding the players that fit the model that we want, and finding players that are going to come in and make an immediate impact for us.
What does that official visit look like, and what is that like getting to see those players fall in love with the Alabama State campus?
Our official visits are pretty fun. We bring all of our commits back together, so they can meet each other, intermingle with the team, and see like the whole team atmosphere, like they're already a part of the team, because they've committed to us. So, in a sense, they are already part of the team. And it's really great to watch a prospective student athlete, get back on campus and be like, oh yeah, this is where I'm going to be. This is fun. Like, this is cool. Yeah, it's really cool to see the work from recruiting kind of open up, and watch a kid say like, yeah, I'm glad I made this decision.
As a college women's soccer coach, what is it like getting to see those freshmen put on that uniform for Alabama State for the first time?
Oh, it's exciting. Yeah, again, like I said earlier, I mean, watching our players put their kits on and go out to a game, regardless of their freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, super senior, it's always exciting to see them on the field. And freshmen, they're excited to be there, and they're like, I am going to put all my effort in. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to show you everything I have. And I think that part is the greatest thing, because then they get out on the field and it's like, oh, wait, I'm playing against grown women. You have 17, 18-year-olds playing against 21, sometimes 22-year-olds. And it's fun to watch them kind of get that first knock and then have that switch flip. And they're like, no, just because you're bigger than me or you're older than me doesn't mean you get to push me around. So then they start getting that little feistiness in them. So that's fun to watch.
Of course, what is that like, getting to see those freshmen turn into seniors and getting to put that uniform on for the last time?
I think it always feels really good as a coach when you get a player in as a freshman and they're with you their whole college career. I mean, it's very important to bring kids in that want to stay the full 4 years. Obviously, it's good for the program, but seeing them come in, do the work athletically and academically, and get to graduate with that piece of paper, it's a really big deal. And it definitely tears at the heart a little bit to watch them put the jersey on for the last time. And then that final whistle blows, and whether it's a win or a loss, it tears at you to watch them cry, be emotional. But it's really cool to see all of it come together and be like, you know what, I did the thing, I came, I accomplished a lot, and now I'm going to go on and do greater things. So it's really cool to see.
What is that like, getting to see those seniors go on after their senior year and go into playing professional soccer, whether it's the NWSL or the U.S. national team?
Well, I haven't gotten to see that. Well, we did have a goalkeeper from last year that went on to play professionally over in Spain. And it's really fulfilling as a goalkeeper coach to have a goalkeeper that I worked for go out and start fulfilling that professional dream. Yeah, it's really awesome to see the kids that do go on and continue the dream of playing. And at the end of the day, all we want as coaches is to see our kids do great things in life, whether they continue to play or they go into a career or they start a family. We from day one, all we want is the best for them. So regardless of what that looks like for each individual player, it feels really good to watch kids graduate and go on and live their best life.
How is that like as a coach, getting to see those players go into coaching and take what you taught them as a player into their coaching career?
It's really fun, actually. Another one of the goalkeepers that I've worked with, she's started to get into coaching. And she reaches out to me still sometimes, like, hey, I'm working with this kid. We're kind of having this problem. What can I do to, what can I do to work on this? It's really fun to have those conversations. And it's really fun it's fun to watch a session from the outside and be like, oh, I did that with you. It's cool to watch them take that session and kind of put their own spin on it, and watch players I've had become coaches and just do their own thing. And coaching is stealing ideas from other coaches and then making it your own. So it's cool to see.
What are some of your future plans as a coach for Alabama State?
The biggest thing is always grow the program. We want to be SWAC champions all the time, of course. I think my biggest goal on a personal level is to get to the NCAA tournament, and win that first round game. But as far as growing the program, that that's my plan. Grow the program, bring in players that want to be here, want to make a big impact on the team, and get players that put the team first. Those players are really important. Making sure everybody that's on the squad knows that they have a role, whether they're playing or they're watching from the sideline, that they have a role in our success. And so that's the biggest thing for me is making sure everyone understands that if you are on this team, you are making an impact. How can we make that the best impact possible?
What advice would you give those players that are looking to enter their first year of collegiate women's soccer?
Oh, advice for that. Work hard. But you gotta love it. If you find yourself losing the love for it, be brave enough to have a conversation with your coach. Be brave enough to have a conversation with your team. And if it's not the case of, losing love for it, maybe you're just in a tough spot because you just left home, you've never been away from home before. Again, be brave. Trust your teammates, trust your coaching staff, put yourself in the college soccer world. I'm not saying let go of everything you've done before, but August to November, it is soccer, soccer, soccer. Give yourself the opportunity to just be fully immersed in it.
What advice would you give those seniors that are looking to go into playing professional soccer, whether it's the NWSL or overseas for the national team?
Connections. Make all the connections you can. Use your current coaching staff, use your club coaches. Everything in this world right now, and always has been, about connections. So that's going to be the biggest thing, is you can't be afraid to reach out to somebody. But the second piece is, you got to work harder than you've ever worked before. And when you figure out that that's what your dream is, to play professionally, put your nose to the grindstone and get it done, because it'll pay off.
What advice would you give those college soccer players looking to get into coaching right after collegiately?
I'd say either, get involved with a local club, or, go the graduate assistant route. There's a lot to be learned as a graduate assistant. Of course, you're going to get the coaching experience, but you're going to learn a lot of other things along with it. And that graduate assistant position it's going to be a good show of whether or not you want to be in the coaching world, because there's a lot on your plate. You have the academic piece of it, and then you have the coaching piece of it, and more times than not, you're going to be wearing many other hats within the athletic department. And I think that's a good representation of what, kind of a normal coaching life is like. So yeah.
What advice would you give those future assistant coaches looking to get started and becoming assistant coaches in women's soccer?
I mean, if it's something you want to do, go for it. There's going to be a lot of rejection along the way, and that's okay. If it's something you want, keep at it, and just keep trying.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the Alabama State's women's soccer program at?
Oh, our Alabama State Instagram, I'm pretty sure, is Alabama State Soccer. I think that's the same for Twitter and Facebook as well. And I am not very present on social media as a coach. I keep it pretty personal, so I'm not going to give you my social media.
Thank you again, Coach Kodie Johnson, for your interview, and best luck in your future at Alabama State as the assistant women's soccer coach.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And here again, Coach Kodie Johnson for your interview, and best luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.